Well, hello, very warm welcome to the penultimate session for today's WPP BAV Alibaba 11/11 Global Shopping Festival broadcast. I'm thrilled and delighted to be joined in this session by Rob Wales, who is the founder and the CEO of Lodo. Rob, a very, very warm welcome. Very nice to see you.
Thank you very much for having me, David.
Well, Rob, it's been an interesting journey, hasn't it? It started in a garage and this week in China. So let's unpack some of that. But before we do, Lodo was the successful participant in our WPP Alibaba Pitch Fest competition that we held a few months ago. And that competition was open to brands who haven't yet had any exposure in China, and the prize was to be advantaged in the Alibaba 11/11 Pitch 11/11 Global Shopping Festival, and to be able to put their products in front of Chinese consumers through Alibaba for the very first time. Well, a massive congratulations to you, Rob. You were nominated by a WPP agency, VML Y&R Commerce. So again, also a thanks to the VML Y&R Commerce team as well, and congratulations to them. Well, we've got a lot of things to unpack, but probably the first really is to level set everybody who's watching, because they might well not be familiar with Lodo yet. So the Lodo story, Rob, it started in your garage. What was it all about?
Well, it started on a kitchen table. So the co-founder Ben and I, two co-founders, Ben and myself, we'd worked together on a food project previously, and neither of us were from a food background, but we both kind of got hooked by the excitement of food and the immediacy of food, and it was something obviously that everybody throughout the world shares in common. And Ben had been away traveling, and we were having a conversation in Northwich, as it was many, I think it was 2015, and we were discussing, wouldn't it be great to eat pizza and lose weight? That was the starting point for this whole journey. And Ben's,
I'd buy that one.
yeah. Well, that's generally where it started. And Ben's an amazingly creative individual. He's brilliant in the kitchen, but he blends with a real scientific approach to food. We come at it through two very different points of view. And I said to Ben quite flippantly, "Oh, just get in the kitchen and start inventing then, Ben." And that was kind of the nature of a conversation. And Ben took about essentially built a chemistry set in his mother's kitchen at the time, and found a way to he brought together some very, very interesting fibers and proteins from, funnily enough, one of them from China, one from India, and specialist proteins from around the world, along with a very, very, very unique manufacturing step that he managed to ideate on his mum's kitchen table. And several weeks later, he came to me, and it was like a chamois leather, David. You wouldn't want to eat it necessarily, but the genius of the idea was there. And we both knew that it was an insanely low way to carry flavors, an insanely low calorie and carbohydrate way to carry flavors. And it made for a great pizza base. It made for a great wrap as something that you could really indulge flavors on, because it was so low in calories and carbs. And literally from that humble beginning, we decided, the two of us, let's make a go of this. This was in 2015, late 2015. We turned my garage here into basically a pilot laboratory test bakery. And then from there, the journey's been nothing short of amazing. We are now 50 people. We're in a fantastic facility in Rochdale. That's our home. We are moving to a 45,000 square foot facility early next year. And I guess as a business, we'd always looked internationally. When we first did our market research, we did some market research in America, in Australia, and in Europe, and we'd never really considered China at that stage. But when the call came through from VML Y&R, and there was a competition and a pitch to be won, then we jumped out at it with both hands.
So tell us just a little bit about the product range, the customer proposition, and where you were in your journey of expansion before the thought of China came onto the radar. And then we'll talk a little bit about your China experience in terms of creating products suitable for that market, which you've done a remarkable time over the course of just the last 3 months.
Yeah, so our best-selling SKU, our number one selling SKU, it's the original Lodo bases. And these are effective. They look like a flatbread. 2 flatbreads come in a packet, and they're incredibly versatile. So they can be used straight out of the packet as a wrap or as a flatbread. You can use them to the biggest use. Actually, 98% of our customers use it as a pizza base. You can blitz it up and use it as a crumb to make mug cakes. It can be used to replace the pasta in, for example, a lasagna. So it's an incredibly versatile product. And the key proposition is healthy indulgence. So a lot of the refined carbohydrates that are traditionally found in things like wraps and pizzas, they carry an awful lot of the calorie and carb. And we saw a growing trend for folk wanting to reduce their calories through reduction in carbs. But the alternatives around the market, we didn't feel, and we certainly, to this day, recognize that ours gives the customer a great proposition to have that healthy, indulgent experience with a lighter carb touch. So that was our initial product, and we've sold nigh on 5 million of those now here in the UK. And we
who was your first customer, Rob?
Data protection, I guess, means that I couldn't tell you that the name. I know the lady. She lived in Preston. She's still a customer actually to this day, which is good news. So really pleased about that. A lady from Preston, the first customer. The product range then, it was actually by accident, David, that we ended up extending the product range. So we were experiencing an awful lot of waste in our production process, and we found a way to actually create an ingredient out of some of the waste called Ingredient X. And we call it Ingredient X. And now this allows us to replace the refined carbs and things like cakes. So we've now launched a cake bar range, which is doing incredibly well for us here in the UK. We've launched a brownie mix range. We've launched a vanilla sponge cake mix range. Next year's exciting for us because we're actually going to be launching retail-ready frozen pizza as well. So lots of possibility with the technology that sits at the heart of Lodo.
Now, there are many different channel choices that one has at the moment. Direct-to-consumer is something that is on a lot of people's minds. Direct-to-consumer is important to you. Tell us a little bit about that channel and why direct-to-consumer.
Yeah, so I guess we were, and still are in many ways, launching a product that was new to the market. And from a retail point of view, we were quite unclear about where it might sit in a retailer. Was it in the bakery department? Was it in the ingredient department? Was it in the gluten-free section? And also, we knew that it had multiple uses, but we weren't quite sure how our customer was going to use it. We knew we had an instinct that weight loss and weight management through calorie control, and in particular through reduction in carbs, that was a broad set of our customer. And going direct to consumer, it allowed us to actually understand what the customer was doing with our products. And that ecosystem that continues today with through all our social channels and through direct engagement, it allows us to get direct feedback from the customer on exactly how they want to use Lodo, what happens when maybe it doesn't go so well for them using Lodo. And so it gives us real lifetime information to help us ideate new ideas. The cake bars and the mixes, actually, they came out of ideas and suggestions that our customer was talking to us about through our social channels and through all the shared content that they've given us. So it's been an incredibly vital part of our journey.
Now, let's move on to Pitch Fest and China and 11.11. Now, there are many people who are watching today who haven't yet experienced 11.11 from their own brand's perspective. You've had that experience of thinking about going to China and then being in China for this year's 11/11 through the Pitch Fest in a extremely short period of time. In fact, that was, in a sense, the hypothesis of Pitch Fest, which was a turbocharge for brands. Could you just explain to us a little bit of your internal processes from learning about Pitch Fest through to the competition itself and your presentation there, and then we'll talk about what's happened to you in your China journey since then.
Yeah, sure. So when we were made aware that the scheme was being run and that the competition was being run, obviously the first thing between the team here was, okay, have we got the bandwidth to get involved with this as a competition, and obviously more importantly to deliver if we do win the competition, and make sure that we can fulfill our part of the agreement to getting our product into China. And I think what came through very clearly when we were reading about the competition was how seamlessly this would be for us. So you're right, it was a very short timescale to get into China, but all the hard work in many ways had been done in the planning of it. And so we were aware that this was in many ways a once in a lifetime opportunity for a small brand like ours with international aspirations. And when we read the small print and just saw how actually effortlessly we could get into China, it became a bit of a no-brainer, David, because what it means for us is that we've got a fantastic opportunity to see how our product travels, not just internationally, because we know it travels internationally, but into a market that maybe we'd never, hadn't started to consider yet. And so it's a very, very risk-free way for us. And then I think it also, we discussed as a team, and it inspired the team because, again, a small business based out of Manchester up here and doing what we're doing, to have the opportunity to work on this international platform and be a part of such a huge shopping festival, it's just really motivated the team as well and given everybody an amazing lift. So it became a bit of a no-brainer in that sense for us, David. And then, so that's when we went on to pitch.
Now, from the point that you learned that you were the successful WPP Alibaba brand to take forward, what have you done and how have you prepared yourself? And what is happening over this period we're in at the moment for your products to be put front of mind with Chinese consumers?
Well, as the winner, you mentioned that we've had an awful lot of support, and we have. So this wouldn't have been possible without some fantastic stakeholders that have been involved in the process. So, first of all, with Alibaba, with Zarina and her team from Alibaba, they've given us some fantastic insights into the Chinese market. Zarina having an understanding of health and wellness and food products. So, and Pema, her colleague, so they've been giving us some fantastic views on the ground of how our product might land. They've introduced us to an influencer who will be live streaming. I mean, live streaming has been a fantastic eye opener for us, and it's something that we're very, very keen to find more about.
Did you know anything about live streaming beforehand, Rob?
No, not really. No. It's been one of the big take. My team are absolutely thrilled. I mean, we have the team are picking and choosing which sessions they want to get involved with, and we've got a big wash up ourselves at the end of next week. And I know live streaming is going to be something that everybody's talking about at our place at the moment. So that's been a fantastic eye opener. Tuesday actually is our live stream, so we have our influencer talking about our products next Tuesday. So we're all waiting with bated breath to see how that goes, and incredibly excited. So we had a lot of support from Alibaba. Samarkand, it was great. I watched Jack Porteous from Samarkand. He talked very eloquently about how brands such as ours can start on Tier 1 and on the overseas site. And Samarkand have been fantastic. So we were given a real lift up in terms of helping design our page for the Tmall page that we have on there.
Yeah, so that's Samarkand Global. For those of you who didn't see the session, we had a session yesterday with Jack Porteous, who is the Client Service Director for Samarkand Global. So you can watch that on demand. Go to the website that you're on at the moment, and you can watch that a little bit later on.
Yeah, it's a really interesting session, and I would encourage certainly brands our size who have aspirations, but and I think, as Arena mentioned as well, there's a natural progression if you're going to go into China. And I think the overseas site and using a partner such as Samarkand allows you effectively seamless access. It's been as easy to get into China as it has any other market, if not easier, via the Samarkand platform.
And actually, out of interest, Rob, your pre-perceptions about how difficult that process may well have been. Have you been surprised at how seamless that process has been for you?
We have you 100%. So, in many ways, I feel a little bit embarrassed because we've collaborated on content. We've obviously been working with the influencers, sending over samples, and we've been developing recipes for China, and that's all fantastic stuff. But that's stuff that we would do in the daily course of our work anyway. I think what Samarkand have done and Tmall have done, and VMLY&R have certainly helped in this respect as well, is they've made it seamless for us. We've been introduced to, from a logistics point of view, all we need to do is send our product down to Heathrow. And that's it. We forget about our product at that point. From a building of the page point of view, Samarkand have helped us with that. The translation that Samarkand have been able to help us with is fantastic. Obviously, we don't have any Chinese speaking or translation services in-house. It's been very collaborative. So our creative team have worked brilliantly with their creative team. So that process has been incredibly smooth and seamless. We were introduced to the Chinese British Business Council, so we were able to speak with Antoinetta and again get more understanding of how the Chinese consumer might engage with our product and sort of understand more about what goes on in a Chinese kitchen, because all of this information was stuff that we had to learn relatively quickly. So the level of resource that we've had and the assistance we've had has been first class, and it's really made our journey into China, incredibly simple.
Now, you talked a little bit about the fact that on Tuesday, the influencer, that is a Chinese influencer in China, will be live streaming Lodo products. Tell us a little bit about how you've had to brief that live streamer so that they have the right content selling points. I mean, we've heard over the course of this week's broadcasts on a number of occasions how influential live streamers can be, but also how detailed knowledge they need to have of various different products, because there is this interaction during a live stream. So any person who's watching can ask any question, a technical question of a product, how it works, what's its ingredients is, etc. And the live streamer is expected to know the answer and be able to reply in the chat or via voice as part of that live stream. So from a brand's perspective, and obviously these live streamers haven't heard of Lodo before, what is it that you've had to tell them to inform them about the product?
So we've been very fortunate. Again, Tmall have helped us and found us an influencer, and this influencer is an influencer that already understands food and so is used to talking about food and food products. So that's a big start for us, because we needed somebody with an interest in food and that had an idea of global dishes.
And clearly, in a sense, Rob, that influencer has been picked also because the followers that they have are also interested in food, and the live stream itself is going to be food related in one form or another. 100%. So that gave us a great start. The team have managed to find such a fantastic live streamer for us. It was then a case of packaging up two things. One was the product information. And that was specifically making sure that in a very succinct way, we could communicate to the live streamer exactly what it was about our products, and not just a list of claims about our product, but understanding how the Chinese customer might value those claims. So, for example, it turns out that low carb isn't necessarily a huge thing, but low calorie is a bigger thing. That general and these, I was going to say, these subtle differences. That's not a subtle difference; it's got a fundamental difference. And these nuances are really important to understand, aren't they? Because
Yeah.
that could be the difference between the Chinese consumer resonating with the proposition and then thinking that it doesn't really appeal to them.
Yeah, and that's again thanks to Debbie, Sam, and the team at VMLY&R, because that was some on-the-ground research that they managed to pull together for us in a very, very short space of time. But that will
I've got to say, having worked with those team, they are quite exceptional. So you're very lucky to have that partnership.
Yeah. Well, we were absolutely thrilled with it, and it's obviously commercially really, really valuable for us as we launch in China. I think the next thing we did, now this part of the journey really excited the team, because we know we have a product that we've ideated over 500 recipes for the UK and market. But it was a chance for the development team to work out how our product might be used in a Chinese kitchen, so we could give the influencer the ideal scenarios, the ideal recipes for using our product. And it turns out that we can steam Lodo. So the guys were trying to, exactly, which is fantastic for us. So we were looking at bao buns and the texture of bao buns, and one of the guys just had a great idea, and we purchased a steam basket and went to work on it. And the miso glazed king oyster mushroom mixed veg and sweet chili sauce Lodo bao bun is a thing of beauty. So and similarly with egg rolls. So we obviously saw that egg rolls are a real mainstay of the Chinese kitchen, and something that the Chinese customer might make at home. And so we've actually soaked Lodo in egg and managed to create this incredibly high fiber, low calorie egg roll, again with very, very, very traditional fillings. So and so it's styling our product and researching how our product might be used in the Chinese kitchen, and then advising that to the influencer as well for the live stream. That was a key part of it.
Well, from a British kitchen table to a Chinese kitchen in a couple of days' time, once the live stream starts on Tuesday. It's an amazing story, Rob. Again, congratulations on being the WPP Alibaba Pitch Fest successful brand for 2021. We have a great story, the Lodo story. We will be screening it on Monday at 12:15. Here's just a little taste of what to expect on Monday.
The next 12 months, I pinch myself when I think about the excitement and the journey that we've got ahead. So we're going to China. That's fantastic. We're taking our product to China, and 3 years ago or 4 years ago, had someone said to me, and in 3-4 years' time you'll be going to China, I would have said, no, come on.
Well, we hope the live stream goes really well for you on Tuesday, and your first experience of China and 11.11 bodes well for the growth and the development of your business going forward. Rob, it's been a pleasure and delight to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
And I'll be back in a few minutes with our wrap-up of the week with Benji Lam, the Director of Vitabiotics for China and Asia. Back in a minute.